Yeah, no, you don't want those problems. No, we don't want those problems.
Nah.
What's up, nerds? Welcome back to another episode of New Block Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, aka Prince, with the homie Darron, aka Medic Grizzly. First of all, I want to give a shout out to my co-host who just celebrated a birthday last week. So
You're going to do that.
shout out to you. Shout out to you, big guy. No, man, on
Thank you.
behalf of
Thank
the
you.
fans, and us and the family, we love you, and it's always pleasant to see one of the homies make another trip around the sun. So, cheers to you,
Thank
my
you,
guy.
bro. Thank you, bro. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
man. Yeah, yeah. How was your holiday?
Chill. Like, it was the best holiday ever. How was yours?
Mine was great, man. Yeah, mine was great. My wife's brother lives out just outside of Salt Lake. So we went out there. They just had a baby about like 5 or 6 months ago. Um, so it was nice to see like all the kids just kind of like hang out and yeah, it was cute. It was cute.
I just thought about what you just said. You don't have to say it right now on camera. We'll talk about. I wanted the birthdays with Star because 5 months next week.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. So we'll talk. Yeah. I just.
Yeah, yeah, we'll take it off fair. We're taking it off fair. We'll take it off fair. But speaking of cute kids, we are back in King's Landing with one of our personal favorites. We're doing Arya again, guys. Again, if you guys have not been following the our journey here, we're going through a Game of Thrones book, chapter by chapter, breaking it down. We are on Arya 3. So we're back in King's Landing. This is a great chapter. Arya chapters are always fun. There's a lot of information in this chapter. A lot of things get revealed, and it's great that George makes Arya the person who witnesses all this exposition, if you will, and just really just more foreshadowing and of things to come. So, Duran, your first time reading through this, like we got little tidbits of it in the show, but
Mhm.
nothing quite to this depth like we get in the book. So I want to get your thoughts on that.
Okay. Let's everyone paint this picture right now in your head. We love superheroes. Okay. We love comic book characters. This is like the closest like chapter to a superhero I've ever had in Game of Thrones. Okay, we start off with her training, her origin story of chasing around cats. Okay, and then it goes about like the cat's like pedigree of like who was really the top echelon cat of the actual kingdom. And they talk about how they had to catch this one, how there's one particular cat that's just like top of the line, you gotta chase down, right? So that cat made her venture into a different part of the actual land. And it opened the door of things that I was not expecting. And I'm so happy she chased that darn cat. So just even seeing her moves and seeing her like, even the fact they thought that she was a boy when she was all muddy and dirty and everything else,
Mm-hmm.
it's like
Mm-hmm.
her origin story of becoming who we know she's going to
Yeah.
become
Yeah.
is happening right now.
Yeah.
And I got so hyped, bro. When she was moving, it was like, yeah, swift as a deer. I was like, yo.
Yeah. 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 No, you're right. When you brought that up, it does kind of read like a almost like a version of like a little like training montage of sorts, right? Because like she's thinking about like you get introduced in this chapter, she's thinking about the lessons that Syrio's trying to teach her by chasing these cats, and
Mm-hmm.
she's talking quick as a snake, swift as a deer, still as a stone, all these things, and you see her like starting to like you said like the beginnings of this training of like being a master of disguise, being real slippery, being able to like get in and out of situations really quick. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she's doing full on like parkour in this chapter. Like she's running
Oh,
when she's running away from the guards. And it starts off it's so great with Arya because like it starts off as like a harmless like little kid reason of like I don't want the Septa or my dad to know that I was out here like dirtying up my clothes and shit. And it evolves into so much more. I mean,
bro.
put the foreshadowing about Arya's character and where she's gonna ultimately become later on. Put that aside, but just what she ends up stumbling into later in this chapter is like
Bet.
mind
So let's
blowing.
speak. Let's speak about that. So she's down there and she's like, "Yo, if they find out who I really am, it's gonna be problems. I gotta answer my dad. I'm not supposed to be out here." Well, you realize like they don't know I'm even a girl. They have no idea. And then she was so scared to speak, which actually helped her. So then all of a sudden you see the movements, boom, ew, boom. And then what got me was the window part. I gotta make sure my words are correct. Did it say as narrow as an arrow? Like how skinny those bars were, where she had to like hold her breath to go through that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We talking about the Avengers, bro. We got
Yeah,
Black Panther.
yeah. It's funny. While I'm reading this chapter, I can just close my eyes and just see Arya just kind of like just running around, just like bouncing off of walls, jumping up, like slipping through little window slits. Like again,
Yes.
I can see it in my brain. Like you said, it reads like a comic book panel almost. Like she's like jumping here, jumping over this, bumping into this person. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? It's
That
great, but
we
go
talk about
ahead.
she did catch the cat.
She
She
did
did catch the cat that everyone said was impossible.
right.
Okay. Even the gold cloaks were like, yo, that's that cat right there. Even messed with the queen's father when he was trying to get some food. Like this is the legit beast of the house. So when she slips, and here's my questions of being a new fan and you being the best historian of this, where did she go? Because we said you got about beasts and grooves and skulls and eyes. I think I know where we at, but it's a clarification
Yeah,
though.
so this is great, and this gets touched on a little bit, throughout the books. But so she's in the Red Keep, she's in the castle, and there are all these little hidden passageways, in the Red Keep, and she stumbles across them, and we get a lot of information about. I mean, it's through Arya's eyes, so she doesn't realize what she's looking at.
Mm-hmm.
But those are all the skulls of the Targaryen dragons over the
That's what
years,
I thought. Yeah. Okay.
right?
Cool. Cool.
So she's bumping into these monsters, and she's talking about how big their skulls are, how long their teeth are, stuff like that. So it's again that little bit of exposition without it just being someone explaining, hey, 300 years ago, and between that time there were dragons and blah 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 blah. It's like you're getting that experience, and you're getting sort of the scale
Mm-hmm.
of what these dragons were, like what kind of monsters they actually were, from the scale of this 9-year old or however old she is, right? Um, so I thought that was really cool to like to have that there, just to kind of give you like, holy shit, these things were huge. Like yeah, like she's 9 years old. I know she's not that big, but she's fully in the mouth of one of these things.
Yes. And like even that fact that she said that she closed her eyes of fear of like trying to like calm herself down and like the monster is still there. And then when she like kind of backtrails, it feels one is even bigger. And she's like, I feel like they are seeing me, even though they're just skulls and not harmful. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the energy and the spirit of those dragons are still there. I'm like,
Yeah,
yo,
yeah.
you just walked upon it's everything's gonna change.
And,
And
not for nothing for Arya. I think it's commendable on her for being as young as she is in this completely super dark place that would scare most people, most grown adults. And she's sitting there like, all right, close your eyes, take deep breaths, calm down. Like for a 9-year old or however old she is, that's an extremely mature thing that she's doing. And again, it just kind of reiterates again the foreshadowing of what this training is and what she's inevitably going to become later.
so can we talk okay, we down here, it's dark. We got dragon skulls. Let's put it how it is. This is not her chasing cats no more. We in a whole new realm. And then there's parts there when she's like trying to fill the stone walls and see what's going on because she has nothing, no memory, was all new to her, and also no vision. So she's walking around essentially blind and trying to figure this out with her just natural new instincts and training, right? She mentions about voices and how she hears her dad but then walks away. She hears voices over here like that. Is she like to the point for people like myself I thought it was like way like lower in the ground, like this keep. Can you
Hmm.
still hear what's going on in the actual like kingdom? Like, is it just the floors walking across?
No, I don't. I think just where she was is where the two people who we're going to get to in a second. Um, they certainly moved around, like they knew where they were going.
Yes.
Like they clearly have a feel for all these hidden tunnels, even in
Mm-hmm.
all this darkness. Now they had a torchlight, right? So that helps, but it doesn't seem like this is the first time these folks have met down here, right? To talk business, right? So So there are very few people. So for those of you who don't know, and I don't want to derail the conversation, but long
Cool,
story
cool.
short,
Let's get it.
the second Targaryen king, King Maegor, also known as Maegor the Cruel, he was the one who actually built the Red Keep after Aegon the Conqueror just had a very small, like, what they call the Aegon Fort. Um, Maegor was the one who commissioned the Red Keep and had all the tunnels and hidden passageways created. And then story gets dark, as Game of Thrones does. After it was completed, he invited all the stonemasons and laborers that worked on the all those projects to a feast, and he had them all killed
I
because he did not want anyone other than Targaryen royalty, the royal family, to know about all these secret passageways. Now that was 300 years ago, so obviously someone like this, which I'll just tell you guys now. Spoiler alert: it's Varys and his partner Illyrio, um, in the
okay.
dungeons. Yeah,
Was
and so like if anyone was going to find these secret passageways, it was going to be Varys. Like I feel like
cool.
this is one of those things that gets revealed to us through Arya's POV that like this is part of the reason why Varys can do what he does so efficiently because he knows all these secret passageways. He can get to various points of the castle and probably the city without anyone knowing when and
Because
where he's coming.
everyone that was supposed to know was gone.
It's gone.
Like the fact that you just mentioned that as if like that's just hey, they gotta go. And knowledge has to be from me, no one else. And that was a normal like, okay, no
Yeah.
problem.
Only part of the reason why they called him Maegor the Cruel.
Yeah, that's
He was a pretty bad dude.
that's fitting. That's fitting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's go back a little more details, right? So he see that Arya talking about how she hear two voices, right? Yeah, it's funny. I'm listening to audiobook. The guy disguises the voices differently, so it's like it's comical, but it's also very intriguing. And mentioned how one was very light on his feet,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like he was chubby but light on his feet. But I thought they said he had a beard. So was he wearing like a disguise?
Yes. Yes, this is great that they do this. Like
Yeah.
reading it again, reading the he was very light on his feet. That kind of
Mm-hmm.
gave it away for me. But also remember, Varys had disguised himself just a couple chapters ago when he went to go visit Ned Stark.
Yo, he did.
So we already have that in our brains that Varys knows how to
I
disguise himself.
wasn't even thinking about that at the moment. I thought it was Varys because it gets to a point when he said about what was it called? Like he used a different word, birds. Is it the little birds or
Little birds. Yeah,
so
that gave it
I
away
know
too.
that because
Yeah.
of that. So it bring my head. But when he said light in the like his toes and let's be honest, man's quick. He can do what he want to do. And then he's talking about the great beard. I'm like, he ain't got a great beard. Varys is. Then they said juggling, and I was like, yeah, that's Varys right there.
And,
That's
and
all.
not to mention too, in Arya's head, she's listening to Varys' voice, and she was like, "There's something about him that seemed oddly familiar." But then when she's talking about Illyrio, who she's actually never seen before, she says it in her head like Arya was certain she had never seen this person before. So you don't
Mm-hmm.
you don't do that contrast between those two characters without like it's clear that like okay, the person that she said she recognized is someone that we know, and the person she said she's never seen before is someone that we don't know.
All right,
Like
so
it's
here's a
very, it's very
question.
clear there.
All right, so I'm gonna dig a little deeper then. Varys killed the first hand? Like he had something to do with it?
No, I don't believe Varys had anything to do with John Aaron's death. That's a good question. I don't believe so. I think, and their Varys and Illyrio's plans will come later. I don't want to give the game away too
No, we're
much
not. We're not. I
this
just
early,
this is me
but
thinking about the first hand and how they said that basically the lion and the dragon they gonna have to fight each other,
mm-hmm.
and how you
Or
did
the
it
Lion and
one
the Wolf.
time. Yeah, lion
Yeah.
wolf. Sorry, and then you have to do it again. And this is Varys. I'm like, bro, did you have something to do with the first time? Like, what's going on? Talk to me. I'm a new
Well,
guy.
I think, and without giving the game away, it's clear that they're trying to based on their conversation about Daenerys and her being pregnant with Khal Drogo's child and everything else, that it seems like they're trying to plan some kind of Targaryen restoration.
Mm-hmm.
So what I got from that, and again, I know a little bit more, but like
Yeah.
having read it again, I'm reading it and I'm thinking, okay, they they want Westeros to be in a certain state before they're ready to launch whatever plans that they're cooking up.
Okay.
Right. So that's why they're kind of talking back and forth about like, no, you need to delay. And they're like, no, you need to hurry up because shit's popping off over here. These people, like Ned's already, when we get some of the story about what we've already seen,
Mm-hmm.
they talk about Ned already abducting Tyrion. They talk about how Lord Tywin's not going to let that shit slide. And,
Yes.
they're, if they call their banners, they call their banners. That means the Tullys are going to get called into it. It's about to get wild. So whatever plans that we had, we need to hurry this shit up.
Because the plan that they had was based off of, you mentioned Targaryens, you mentioned how she's pregnant. For a new person that's reading this, we haven't talked about her in a while at all. So wait, she's pregnant? Wait. And then you mentioned how the Red Keep and how like the dude just killed everybody. Like Targaryen's family was kind of a mean
Right, right, and
pack.
and they're talking about Daenerys's current state and saying oh, we need to hurry up, but the call is not going to, he's not going to make a move until his son is born, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get this back and forth between Varys and Lirio just about them kind of not panicking but being like, hey, change of plans, we need to we're gonna need to shoot off the hip here because shit's popping off in a way
Yes.
that we didn't really plan for.
Not at all. They mentioned about Jamie and how he adores his brother and how he's not going to take that laying down. Like,
Mhm.
these are like circumstances that you're having a tornado happening on the campus right now, and we're worried about preventing a tornado coming there. So
Yeah,
this is like, yeah, like we got to wrap this up.
yeah. But again, in this very short chapter with Arya, like you get so much of what's ultimately going to become the War of the Five Kings. Varys is talking about, I saw, Lord Stannis and Lady Arryn have both fled King's Landing outside my reach. But from what I know, what I can hear is that they're gathering swords as well. So not only do we have the Starks and the Lannisters about to be at each other's throats, right? That brings in the Tullys because of Catelyn's family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lady Arryn now because that's her sister. Stannis, and they talk about the book and they talk about Robert's bastards and talking about how Ned is on track, the
Mm-hmm.
same way John Aaron was, and it's just you're getting all this stuff and all the ingredients are there for a massive, massive, massive civil war in Westeros. That's to come.
So I got a question. I know for book purposes, he had to find the book. But if
Hmm.
I'm Varys, why did you destroy the book? Like this could have prevented. Why did you guys? Because you knew that he's on the same path as the first hand, and the book tells so much. And then even Arya, who doesn't know a lot going on, and hears about her dad, hear about this book, and little details of like how this book is so important. And then we
Yeah.
move a little forward, and we see Ned with the book that I'm assuming is the book itself, and he's reading it. Why did you get rid of the book?
Yeah, that's a good question. I never thought about that. I don't know why no one who knew and who didn't want things to get crazy wouldn't just destroy the book. Unless it's like property of Robert, and
It
it's like
doesn't
part
lend
of.
and
But
everything else.
Robert doesn't strike
Yeah.
me as someone who would give a damn about a book going missing. So I don't. That's a great question. That's a great question. I don't know. And what I'll say is this: Varys and Illyrio seem to want there to be some civil unrest in Westeros when they launched their plan, when they launched their invasion. So maybe that was maybe not part of their plan, but maybe they were okay with Ned pulling on strings and starting to figure some shit out because they
Got
want the realm to be at odds anyways, so that their chosen monarch can come in and save the day. You know what I mean? So
it.
I don't know. It could be that. I mean, but I guess Ned just caught on to things a little bit too quick. Said no one ever for their plans. But I mean, in this scenario, that seems to be the case.
So, all right, so the Red Keep, right? And they're following Stone, and as they're getting further and further away, and then we hear Arya and how you sort of mentioned that, like, a well, and how, like, the stones are put in place and everything else. And, like, she did almost, like, the ultimate hide and seek thing of, like, pressing her body against the side. And then how do you not stop breathing? Like, this is
Some
some
real
double.
Assassin's Creed shit. I'm reading this and I'm like this is like some like Batman Arkham. I'm just gonna hide right here in the shadow and let them just walk right by me.
So, like, you didn't just see, like, it's a baby assassin on the low right there. Like, you didn't even realize you walked past a person who's alive. All right, cool. So we get to the point, and then they're walking, and then we find out that the end of this thing is outside of the actual grounds of the kingdom. Because
Mm-hmm.
when she had to come back, she had to get the phone call for her, everything else. She had to ask for permission to get back into the actual kingdom.
Because no
So
one
this
recognized her.
exactly. So this red keep, she started chasing inside there, and then end on the outside. And then we talk about potential invasion, and everything else. This red keep is for Varys is everything.
Yeah.
It's man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and they talk a little bit about Varys's little birds too. You mentioned that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The voices start to fade away, so we start to get only like bits and pieces of stuff. But they talk about the age of the little birds and not knowing their letters yet and stuff like that. So what we're getting is a little bit more information about Varys's spy network, that he uses these little kids and he cuts out their tongues so that they can't speak. But he can't have them too young. He needs them old enough that they know their letters so that they can. Obviously, that's the only way they can communicate if you don't have a tongue, right? Is you have to write stuff down. So again, just like little stuff like that that's in this chapter. It's just like, okay, Varys, he's a master of disguise. Clearly, he can change his voice, change his appearance. He knows all these secret passageways. He's got this all all child, all mute spy network that's God knows where in the castle, just all over the place, probably, right? And it's just like, getting all the information about Varys, just seeing just how I would say how wide his influence can go
We
with
should
some of
all
these
hate him.
revelations.
Everyone should hate him. If I told this man gets little kids and cuts their tongues out just to keep them quiet, we all should hate this man.
Yeah,
Like if you really think about that in perspective.
yeah,
But it's just like, no, he's also Varys and he's really important. No, I have an army of tongueless kids who
yeah,
can't speak
yeah,
for them.
yep,
Literally can't
yep.
speak for themselves.
And just and their whole purpose is just to feed me information. That's
And I'm
all.
also plotting to kill someone else that's pregnant. So this is everyone should hate this man.
Yeah, it's
Like you
wild.
think about it.
It's wild. It's wild. His his and we get some information later on in the story about like why he does the things that he does.
Yeah.
But he's very much a ends justify the means kind of guy, for sure.
That's
For
wild,
sure.
bro.
Yeah.
So we get to the point where she gets back into the kingdom, right? And then the guards didn't believe her because she didn't have the presentation of
Yeah.
being a daughter. So Pops finds out about it. She goes up there, and then the book, and now she's trying to explain everything there. And he's just not really like, he's almost thinking it's a fantasy story.
Yeah.
How does he not know about the Red Keep?
About
And
like the passageways.
yeah, and the like she's
Well,
describing
because no one does.
but his past, the fighting and everything else, like and Robert, no one even knows. Like Robert don't know about this. That's what
There's a lot of people that don't know about those passageways. Yeah, a lot
I'm
of
thinking
people.
about, like the previous war and everything else and what's going on, how the whole.
But you got to remember, Ned only went to King's Landing when Tywin got there and sacked it, and then he saw the dead Targaryen children, and him and Robert had a falling out, and he went back to Winterfell. He hasn't been back to King's Landing since.
Well, you should know about the dragons, right?
I mean, I think like they know that the dragon skulls were like put under the Red Keep somewhere, like in one of the dungeons or
But they
wherever
weren't
they're.
prominent during their time of their reign of what them trying to take over.
I mean, the last dragons died out 100 some odd years ago.
So it does sound like a kid make up a story because it's not okay. Because in my head, I'm like, bro, you should know about this. You
Right.
fought for this, like.
But also too, not for nothing, I love the way that George wrote how her ramblings came out, because like now that I have kids and watching them trying to explain to me what happened at school or something like that, it's just like it reads just like that. It's just word vomit. Like they don't. It's all you might, if you're paying attention really close, you might be able to piece some shit together. But
Yeah.
like sometimes they're just like my son. Anything that happened in the past is yesterday. So like he'll say like, Dad, remember yesterday when we did this and that, did that and then I was like, buddy, that was 2 months ago. But he doesn't have that concept. You know what I mean? So like
I get it.
I use that as an example, but like in Arya's case, like it's just she's talking about monsters and wizards because these are all the buzzwords she heard. And
your star on the hat.
yeah, you see Ned kind of like messing with her, and she's getting mad, like no. And I don't know if you guys have ever talked to a toddler who was trying to explain something to you and you not understand it, but not that she's a toddler, but a kid,
Yeah.
like they get frustrated when they're trying to explain something and you're not getting it. They get real pissed off about it. So I don't know. I found it funny just reading that
He
little
was,
bit of explanation that she was trying to give her
oh.
dad.
She's like, is that the book? And he's like, yeah, wizards and beasts. You had a wild time. Like, yeah. I need you not to do this ever again. And like,
Yeah.
to stay here. Like, disregard. Oh, they're about to try to kill me? Who would you hear this from? The wizard? Like this, he was just trying to downplay everything. She was giving you key, important details about a
Mm-hmm.
threat to your life, and
Mm-hmm.
you did not take her serious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
Just
and it's just again, it's just become almost every chapter we're getting something like this where it's either Tyrion trying to drop knowledge on Catelyn, like, hey, hey, you're being fucking duped, and people trying to tell Ned either directly or in this case kind of indirectly a little bit. It's all there. It's all there. George is continuing to tease us with like nuggets of like, hey Ned, hey Catelyn, here's the truth. Here's the truth. Here's a another little nugget of truth over here, but it's not landing.
people may comment on this, and they may dislike my next statement.
Oh boy, here we go.
If you just take from the beginning of chapter to now, okay, that's it. Don't about the future. Just from beginning to now, the Starks may be the dumbest family in the entire kingdom. They may be the dumbest family in the entire kingdom
You know
because
what?
they
I'm
were
not mad
given
at that
the most
take. I'm not mad at that
information.
take.
They were given the most information, the most chances, and they just don't. They can't get right. They can't get
Yeah,
right, bro.
I'm not mad at that take. I'm
Because
actually
if
not, and
if
I
this
love him.
was,
We're all Team Stark here. All right,
we're all Team Star, but
we're all
there,
Team Stark here. But you know,
if
they're
someone else is a Lannister or a Tully or anyone else, even the Tully's children are cuckoo. If they even brought a snippet of what Arya just brought into the conversation, they would believe it and they ready to guard everybody up, shut down
well.
the kingdom.
You know what? I'm not gonna go that far because Catelyn's a Tully,
What mom's doing,
and
what's dad
so
doing.
was her crazy ass sister. Her sister's nuts.
Okay, but let the little crazy psycho kid mention anything about her being threatened for her life. The whole kingdom getting shut down.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that. She won't know why she's doing it, but
But
she'll
she
do
just
it.
doing it though.
Yeah,
She just doing it.
that's fair.
Lannister, if anybody said anything that Grand Pops come through like, oh, y'all doing what? Y'all trying to do a
Oh
coup?
yeah, no.
It's
This,
a
this
wrap.
this you can never even get a sniff of anything by Lord Tywin, and he's going
It's a wrap. Like you feel
full
me? Like
fire and brimstone.
even
Yeah,
Jamie gonna rock when just rumbling. Like
yeah,
everyone's gonna rumble besides the
yeah,
Starks. We're
yeah,
gonna sit and ponder and go deeper and deeper. Like, bro, we might be the most like special
yeah. I
people.
love the Starks, but
They're not great right
they're
now. It's
no
not looking good right
no
now.
yeah no. It's not looking great, and it's and even like towards the end of the chapter, you see Arya as she's getting escorted out when Yoren
Yeah.
comes and he's coming to basically break the news to Ned that like, hey, I was at an inn in the crossroads, and your wife did some outlandish shit. I just want to let you know that because Lord Tywin probably already knows. Um,
If like you just said that earlier in chapter, they dropped the bomb that saying that they already knew that he was taken. So you already know the rest of the kingdom probably know on the low.
and it's spreading, and it's just spreading.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they not
So
smart.
it's like I said, it's grab my book here. It's all up from here.
Oh
We're
man,
starting to see things really start to get put in motion. And
I think Ned's
yeah,
next.
say again.
Ned is next, right? Because
Ned is next.
it goes
Yeah,
right
that's what
to
I was just
the
checking.
conversation, right? I'm
Yeah.
assuming it goes to the conversation in the room, and it's gonna pick up on that point. We got Jon Snow's main mention. We got my guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you think about their whole collective as a family. They didn't have no team meetings or was kids. Like they didn't have talk. They just
Well, the thing is too. I mean, it's just kind of the setting of this world too, right? Like it's
yeah.
very like no one has cell phones or anything. That the fastest thing you have for messaging is ravens, right? So like if Catelyn just abducted Tyrion maybe a week ago, a fortnight ago, word probably hasn't. I mean, word is just now getting back to Ned. You know what I mean? And you hear Yoren talking about how hard he pushed his horse to get here, just out of respect for the Starks. You know,
Yeah.
because the Starks have such a have always had such a huge presence. You know, physically, financially, and politically with the Night's Watch. Uh, you know, just like, hey, just I'm just gonna do you a solid. I am here to pick up whatever y'all got in the dungeons, but you should know your wife is out here bugging.
Yeah, super level, super level. Like
Yeah.
you,
I don't want no parts of this because I'm a Night's Watchman. I'm just here to pick up some convicts and get back on up north. But
I got
you
one
know,
more detail I want to talk about, and then we can wrap this up. Arya, as she was getting escorted out the room, she mentioned to the gentleman, "How many guards does my dad have?"
mm-hmm.
Cool. He said 50, I think, right? 50
Yep,
guards.
yep,
And then she is still young. We're going 9, 10-ish on this room. She said the Lannisters have more. If that's not a little nugget for you to realize, and then he's going to say, well, we'll take 5 of them for one of us. He's
yeah,
like, well, what about a wizard?
yeah,
And then she says, well, a wizard's nothing with the head chopped off. She is letting you know that the numbers don't, the math ain't not math.
yeah. The math is not mathing. Yeah, yeah.
And
She's
she
like she's
realized
like
this
to
has
your earlier
nothing.
point. It's like she's the only logical one in the room right now. Like the guard just being like, oh, we've got 50 men around him, and he must know the Lannisters have more men, right? He's not he can't be that much of an like you're in King's Landing, a Lannister's on the throne, right? A Lannister is the queen, right? And like you know what I mean. So like, uh, yeah, to Arya's point, she's like, all right, that's not enough. That's not enough. They're talking about killing my dad. What are we doing about this, guys? What are we doing about this?
This is literally the origin story of the greatest superhero of all time in Game of Thrones.
It kind of is. Honestly, it kind of is. It kind of is. You get a little bit of her little like training montage. You know, all the lessons Syrio's feeding her in her brain.
Baby Deathstroke slash Batman is born.
Oh man. No, I mean again, Arya chapters are always great. This one is particularly really well written. I loved I loved that George's choice of having her witness some of this information being poured out to us. Um, because I feel like if it was an adult or someone, it would just be too easy. They would be able to relay it to Ned in a way that would change the story forever. Um, yeah, next chapter is Ned. Again, if you guys haven't been following, we're doing Game of Thrones chapter by chapter, rereading and covering them one by one. Next time we will be with Ned Stark.
Mhm.
Shit's getting real. Shit's getting real. It's getting real tense out here in King's Landing, and
Yeah.
more is yet to come, man.
Oh, they are special.
There's something. There's something. There's something.
Think about her sister. What's in the mix? She loves struggle over a crazy head king.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get to more of Sansa,
They
but
need,
you
they
know
need,
what?
they need
We'll
therapy.
cover that when we get to a Sansa chapter. I don't want to give that away. But guys, don't forget to like, subscribe. Thanks for joining us again. Special shout out to my co-host. Happy birthday.
Appreciate it, bro.
And we'll catch you guys next time.
Peace and love.